on March 3rd, 2025. And we will move on to item number 2 on our agenda, which is public comment. Has there been any written? Okay. Okay, then we have no written comments, so I will close that part and we will move on to the speaker registration form. Lynn Harpham is the speaker that we have for today. If you could give us your name and address.
Yes.
And keep comments to 3 minutes. And is somebody timing?
Excuse me, can we confirm that we're actually recording this? Because the public commentary was not recorded for last session. I just want to confirm that we're all good and we don't have any sound issues this time. Are we good?
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you. My name is Lynn Harpham. I live at 4003 Brenner Court in Sugar Land. I'm here today to talk about the new shelter. Our community really stepped up and supported the shelter's bond request for $12 million last year, and we're all really excited about a shelter which will better meet the needs of our community. But I believe the current plan to build a shelter without a surgery center is a mistake, and I'd like to lay an argument out for my case. The city will spend $20 million on a new shelter, and a surgery center would likely not exceed 2% of that budget. For 2% of the overall cost of a major undertaking, the city could see huge improvements in a number of areas. First, cost savings by reducing outsourcing costs to veterinarians, increased efficiency, saving both scheduling headaches and transportation requirements, improved animal welfare by being able to offer better pain management, improved post-surgery care, and consistent, timely, compassionate care. But mostly, I'm going to spend the rest of the time talking about what I think is the main advantage, which is that we could offer low-cost spay-neuter services and vaccines to our community. If you've priced spay-neuter surgery recently, you know that it can easily cost $600 these days to spay or neuter a large dog. Typically, municipal shelters in Texas, which offer low-cost spay-neuter services, don't charge any more than $200, and often it's under $100. This is a benefit that our neighbors in Houston enjoy, and some qualified citizens in Fort Bend County shelter territory enjoy. I think the citizens of Sugar Land deserve this as well, particularly since they've now voted twice for a new shelter. And it's a win-win for the shelter. Imagine the extra traffic this will bring into the shelter. It will cut down on animals running at large, as most stray dogs, as the shelter well knows, are unneutered. And it will cut down on dangerous or aggressive dog cases, which again, mostly occur with unneutered animals. The animal-friendly license plate program of Texas already provides grants to municipal shelters which provide these low-cost services. So the cost to Sugar Land would be minimal. And all of this will enhance the reputation of the shelter and give the shelter an opportunity to educate residents about responsible pet ownership. I remember almost 3 years ago when Dawn Steff, Rob Valenzuela, and William Ferguson told me they wanted a real showstopper of a shelter. I loved hearing that. This is how you achieve that. Not with a big fancy colorful dog sculpture in the lobby, but with real programs. And there's been a lot of talk about the surge in stray cat and dog populations since COVID. Many people now believe that one of the primary causes is the decline in people getting their pets neutered during the pandemic. A University of Florida study showed that veterinarians performed almost 2 million less spay-neuter surgeries in 20 and 21 as in the years before. And since COVID, those spay-neuter surgery costs have exceeded so much, people are still not neutering at the same rate. This is the way for Sugar Land to turn off the spigot of unwanted dogs and animals. Overall, an in-house surgical center for an animal shelter enhances the quality of care, improves operational efficiency, and allows for greater
Okay, we will close item number 2 on our agenda, public comment, and move on to number 3, approval of minutes from our last meeting.
I approve the following minutes as outlined last month.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, the minutes for the January 27th, 2025 meeting are approved. And we will now move on to workshop. Workshop item A. So we will open item on our agenda, item 4 on our agenda, which is workshop. And that is the speaker is going to be Rob Valenzuela.
Yep, so our animal shelter GeoBond update. A few things real quick. I do want to introduce Lane Wolf. He is with our engineering department. He is our senior manager for vertical construction. So Lane is involved with a lot of the city's facility type construction projects. And so he is the person who will be managing the design process and the construction process and the commissioning process for the new animal shelter. And so I know in the past I have been kind of giving y'all some updates as I've come up here. That being said, Lane will be taking those kind of moving forward. One of those reasons being is I will be stepping away from the city here in the next couple of months. And so we do have a new executive who will be taking over oversight of the animal shelter as well as the animal advisory board. And that is Mark Poland. And so Mark Poland is here today. He will introduce himself here shortly, but I did want to give an update to the board as well. So with that, we'll invite Lane up and go from there.
Good afternoon, everybody. So this is going to be a real quick update. We have received the architectural proposal for design services. I'm currently working on the agenda for city council approval. I'm targeting probably the first council date in April to take that that contract for approval. Once we have, it usually runs about 2 weeks to finalize the contract, and I'll be bringing on PJL Architects, who's been working on this project for several years now. We'll start our design meetings probably towards the end of April, beginning of May, and we'll be keeping you updated as we move along. Any questions? Okay.
No question.
Oh, sure.
Just one question. In our board materials, we were given I guess it's a rough draft of a layout of the new shelter. And even when printed, I can't read any of the little labels on there.
Okay.
And several years ago, I think when we first met you over at the Public Works building, we actually had one printed for us that was, larger scale that we could actually see.
You bet.
Can that be forthcoming at some point?
Yes, once the design team gets working on this project, right now, we just took the sample layout and kind of placed it on this new location to see how it would fit. But we're going to be refining the whole design as we move along. And then once we get an agreed upon layout, we'll be sharing that with everybody. Thank you.
So does that mean we have a location selected?
Yes.
Okay.
Imperial Park off of Highway 90.
Very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
Sorry, to the point that was brought up in public comment, will there be a space and a time to discuss the addition of a surgical suite?
That'll be something that'll be brought up at the initial meeting once we bring in the architect, and we'll look at all the scoping requirements and verify everything again. Yep. That all?
Okay, I guess
Thank you.
that's it. Thank you. And I look forward to hearing I look forward to working with you again.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will move on to review and discussion to item 4B of our workshop, which is review and discussion of animal shelter and community engagement program with Paige Pruden.
Hi, good afternoon. Oh, it's not here. So I'll go ahead and go through the animal services operations updates for you guys. If you don't know me, I'm Paige. I'm the shelter supervisor. And sorry, have a lot of stuff on here. So we'll go through some operations updates that we've, yep. Oh. I might need a timer. Just kidding.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So I'll run through some operations updates, staffing updates, training updates for our staff. Medical population of the shelter animals, our monthly stats, our community cap program, which Mike is overseeing, some animal control updates also under Mike, some updates we have with our microchip grant, our dashboards that we recently created, which is super exciting, and then some adoption process updates, and the euthanasia checklist review will be at the end. So, operations updates. We started opening on Sundays, so we decided this literally, I think on Friday, Dawn. Our staff now stays longer on Sundays, so since we're going to be here all day, I'm like, let's just be open. It's going to give us an opportunity for people to come in and take more animals. So we used to do short skeleton crew day, so that way we could give the staff some break, but we decided in the interest of the animal care, we'll be there all day. So yeah, we're open. We had kind of a slow day. We only had one person come in, but they did do a dog sleepover, so that's all that matters. And I'm hoping and assuming the traffic will ramp up as we go forth into the summer. We have also streamlined our, and we're tracking attendance for that. We have a digital sign-in, so that way we can, what's up?
Go ahead.
So that way we can see the trends and see if people are actually coming on Sundays. We're going to do it for a while. I'm not going to do this for 2 times. We'll do it for months to make sure it's working, just to make sure we have the traffic. And, if it's showing that only one person's coming in, we may reconsider, but for now, yes.
And how will we let the public know that we're now open?
Yes, I believe Yenny's posted it on social media, but we'll continue to post it. We have signs at the shelter when people come in if they want to come back. So we may need to look into changing our hours on Google and stuff, but since this was kind of a sudden change, we need to still work out a plan for all that.
And I have, Dawn, if I could ask you, do we have a media plan or a marketing plan? Is there a list of all the different places that we send things to?
Yes, there is. It was, to Paige's point, we just decided on Friday of last week, so it was just a social post, but we'll be getting with the communications department to create that full, to push out that communication. So it would be next door, it would be Facebook, it would be a variety of things, a news release, and possibly as well.
Okay. Yes, thank you. So we've also streamlined our adoption process. So I don't want to get too technical, but it's less things that our receptionist, actually, and take an adoption specialist is printing and gathering. So it should be a little faster to do adoptions. It should make it easier for us to do adoption events, easier to just get more done in a day. We also have an email that goes out after the adoption that gives some updates on hey, this is how you get your rabies shot. This is what you can do if you have any questions, etc. We also have a survey in there to see how our customer service went, and I will show the results in a later slide. And Lauren also very generously made this Sugarland Lost and Found Pet Portal. So thank you so much. She really did this all, and it's amazing. It's on our website. We got a nice article out of it as well on the news, so thank you. And that will help us to have a better tracking of lost and found pets in Sugarland. We get a lot of emails saying hey, I found a cat, or lost my kitty, lost my doggy, sends us things. And the supervisors have been monitoring the inbox to make sure that we're kind of funneling everyone towards this, so that way we can kind of have a centralized location since there's so many. What's up?
Paige, I've already seen on social media people saying that somebody told them to post there, to post to this.
Oh, perfect.
thing. So when I'm asking about our media plan for rolling things out, if I don't hear anything, I'm an average citizen, then I assume that most average citizens probably haven't seen it.
Yes.
And I tend to get more animal-related Facebook, more animal-related posts than probably your average person.
Yes.
So that's why the reason for the question.
Totally
but this one
understand.
I've seen people talking about on Nextdoor and Facebook.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, it is amazing. So keep using that and let everyone know if they ever find finding or losing a pet is on there. We do have some vacant positions still. Animal services manager, as you guys know, we're in like that 90-day recruitment process. So hopefully we have some more updates here in the coming months. Shelter supervisor isn't me. We are actually opening a second position since I am overseeing so many stuff. We want to split it up and just do a little bit better oversight. So that one we're doing interviews for this week. And then we promoted one of our part-timers, that's a kennel technician, to full-time. So we are in the recruitment stage for a part-timer as well. We still have to go through some steps, preliminary steps, but we're hopefully get that filled soon. But we're not too short on kennel staff right now, so that's good. And then we did fill many positions. So Myrna is there on the left with a dog. I think that's one of the ringworm puppies. But she is our new animal control officer. She's doing amazing. We cannot ask for anything more. She has many years, 6 years in animal welfare between animal control, kennel tech, engagement, all kinds of things. So she is awesome. Jaden is our new vet tech. She is licensed in Texas, and she has 3 years in vet med. She's doing amazing. Her onboarding went super smoothly, and we are super grateful for her and Jean for helping her get trained in everything. And then Megan is our recently promoted full-timer for kennel tech, and she has been with us since May, and she comes with 4 years of large animal welfare. But as you can see, she does great with our dog. She's one of our Snow Whites that just the animals love her. So yeah. Staff training and development is something we're working on. We have a calendar that we're working on, just making sure we're doing. My goal is monthly trainings for everyone, at least for my staff. You know, some people aren't going to be able to do monthly trainings because of their job types and everything, but I want my staff to get monthly training in like dog behavior, wellness, medical, etc. So we did send a few staff members to a compassion fatigue class in January. That's something that we're also trying to ramp up a little bit, is some more mental health training and things like that. I'm going to be doing a certificate later this year for like mental health first aid, but yeah, definitely doing more on the compassion fatigue side. 2 of our animal control officers went to a field training officer class in January. So just getting them some more leadership experience, as well as just some CE for their license. Animal cruelty investigations, we had 4 of our ACOs, which is all of our animal control, went to that in February. So definitely having some cruelty cases pop up here. So we're getting some more training on that. I had all of my staff complete the Fear Free Shelters webinar class, which, if you're not familiar with Fear Free, of course, nobody wants to cause fear to their patients, but it's just a, I guess, like a new tactic on how you can work with animals without causing them unnecessary stress. It teaches a lot about animal behavior, which is something else I'm trying to learn more about. So definitely getting my staff that knowledge was important. And yeah, so all my staff did that. And I have a few finishing up, but we're mostly all there. And then we sent, or we will be sending some staff in March to the defensive handling seminar, and that's also animal behavior. So we have plenty of stuff going to that one. Medical updates, we have been doing pretty good on the medical side. I have to say, I'm back over that again this year. So we have 1 puppy, ringworm positive, left. This puppy is not a part of the super cute AI generated looking litter that's not AI generated there on the left. He's actually a separate, but he's the only one left with ringworm. Just got a little bit of crust on his ears that we're hoping will resolve soon. We only have 2 cats left in our ringworm, which is amazing because we've pretty much been full on ringworm for months. So that is a huge relief. 5 cats are in our ringworm recovery, which, if you're not familiar with the ringworm process, it just means that they don't have any visible lesions, but they do have a pending negative culture, and since ringworm's a fungus, the culture could take 2 to 3 weeks to fully culture. So waiting on those patiently, crossing our fingers. And 8 of the positive kittens that we had in ringworm previously were transferred to HPA rescue early February. So really glad to get those kittens out of the way and hopefully in good homes, good foster homes. And we had a litter of 9 puppies come in earlier this year, and they all had ringworm. We really didn't think it was ringworm because ringworm's not as common in dogs, but we cultured, it was positive. And yeah, so they were in quarantine. It was like a whole passion project taking care of them, but they did get cleared, and they actually have all now either been adopted or are on sleepovers. So yay, and that is how cute they are. I kind of miss them, but I kind of don't, because if you were in the shelter this past couple months, you could smell them and hear them. But yeah. Okay, and some more medical stuff. So we have Twiggy D is a kitty we have over here. So she came in, and I think I might have done her workup, and I didn't notice anything, but our vet tech, Jean, has a very keen eye. She noticed her hips were a little off-centered, so we sent her for some rads, and turns out she had a pelvic fracture on one side, and her leg was like completely broken off on the other side. well, we don't want to amputate both back legs. And she's a kitten, and kittens have a tendency to miraculously heal. So our vet just told us to wait 6 weeks, see what happens. She didn't seem painful, like at all, like literally seemed normal. And we repeated those rads 6 weeks later, and as you can see here on the right, healed completely. So she went to a rescue, but yeah, she got her clean bill of health, and that's just the power of kitten bodies. Another one we have here is Katsu. So he was found by a Good Samaritan in Greatwood in the middle of the night. Our animal control was called out. They were like, yeah, he's limping weird. Turned out there was like he had his leg through his collar. It wasn't a breakaway, so it just got stuck there. Who knows how long? But he had that embedded, and our vet tech was able to remove it. He was a little upset, so we let him lick it off himself, and then we did some treatments, and he fully healed. So a little gross, but at the top, he's got his wound on his neck, and over time it healed. And he was actually super, super friendly. So given his lack of street smarts, we were like, let's try to adopt him out. So he is available for adoption. He did come in with an ear tip, so he may have been a TNR cat, but with his nature and stuff, we wanted to give him a chance. So yeah, if anyone's interested in a miracle cat, he is at the shelter right now. He went on a sleepover, but he came back. Yeah, so he's back. Some other updates. We didn't have any heartworm treatments January, February. We had a couple positives, but with the holiday and then our vet was out for February, we have some catching up to do in March, but we didn't do any this past 2 months. We have not had any cases of panleukopenia in our kittens, which is not to be or expected because of the winter, but also great. No kennel cough, some mild cases of feline URI throughout the winter freeze, but we have all of them that have been resolved now. Definitely have seen a huge decrease in our kennel cough and URI this past year with some changes we made to our cleaning as well as housing protocols, and I'll get into those. I have some slides coming up that we'll get into a little bit more of that. So yeah, been pretty good on the medical side. And then population-wise, we've been pretty full on dogs. We just closed for intake, I believe, this past week. Haven't had too much turnover, unfortunately, but we do have 25 dogs in the shelter, 2 in foster care, and 5 are on sleepovers. Our sleepover return rate has not been as good as it has been, unfortunately. We'll have to look into more why that's going on and what we can do to improve it. But yeah, we do have 5 on sleepovers, so we're got to save at least 2 of those. What's up? Yes?
How many of the dogs of the 20, are we saying that would be 27 plus 5 if we include the 2 in foster and sleepover? Is that?
25 is in the shelter, 2 are in foster, and then 5 are on sleepover.
Okay, so is 25 the total?
Total number of dogs in the shelter. But if you add them all, it's 32 total, I guess.
Physically under control of Sugarland Animal Services?
32.
Okay,
yes.
That's what I was after.
Yes.
And how many of those are have to be the only dog?
A good majority, probably at least 10 or so. Yeah, we have almost a whole, like one of our rows that faces the Sally Port is all the dogs that are a little bit more. It's kind of hard though. I have to say, in the shelter, sometimes they're more dog reactive than they are in the home, but then a lot of people aren't willing to take the risk, which I totally understand. So yeah, it can be tough. That's definitely, like, anecdotally, one of the bigger barriers is dog reactive dogs. So yes.
Okay.
Good amount. And those are all the long stay dogs, because we have plenty of people come in saying they want a long stay dog and then they already have a dog. So they're hesitant to take one of those. So on the cat side, we are definitely down on our numbers, which is good. So 17 cats in the shelter. We don't have any in foster care, and then 2 are on sleepovers right now. But if you've been in the adoption room, it's quite empty. So a lot of those cats are either waiting for surgery, they're finishing up their ringworm treatment, or they're in recovery. So yeah, that is our population. I wanted to really highlight this because this is amazing. We have our best friend key stats here, and that's our save rate and our incomes and outcomes for the month. So we are actually at a 96% save rate for January cats, 95 for February cats, 100% for dogs, January and February. So that's amazing. We only had 1 euthanasia for a cat in January and February. I know one of them was really critical. Like, he it was a whole, like, he was FIV positive. He had a bullet in his head. Like, literally, he had like a tumor going, like, he was just not in good condition. The other one, he was in critical condition when animal control picked him up. They took him straight to the vet, and that was the recommendation. So yeah, we're doing really good. Dogs, we haven't had anything have to be euthanized or pass away. So if you compare that to last year, we were at 87% for January and 88% for February. So we have gone up almost 10% in a year, which is absolutely amazing. So yeah, good for us. We've definitely been keeping on top of diseases and things like that. And you could even say on the cruelty side, maybe we're doing better because we have a lot less animals in the field that are, looking sick and things like that. So yeah, good numbers. Community cat program is still going, slows down in the winter, of course, because the breeding season for cats slows down in the winter with the cold weather, but it will definitely be picking up here this month. We had previously 10 registered caretakers. We're now at 12. We had 72 cats. We're now at 80. And we also added one, so we went from 20 to 21 for ones that were caught and released. And by catch and release, we mean catch, neuter, spay or neuter, and then vaccinate, and then we release them. So yeah, still going strong. And Mike oversees the community cat program. So please, if you have any questions about it or know someone who has a colony or you have a colony, please reach out to him because he is definitely always looking to help more people with that. We have some animal control activities going on. We have two possible cases of animal cruelty or neglect. So one of them is at the shelter. We have custody. The other one, we are trying to educate, provide guidance and things like that about our ordinances, which our ACOs constantly are educating our people about what our ordinances are because they're a little different for Sugar Land. So hopefully that case gets resolved on its own. If not, we will go forth with it. We also have the 12 puppy seizure case. The owners are now facing animal cruelty charges, and that has been filed with Fort Bend County DA's office. And then we have a cruelty case that was submitted last summer as well. That one was dismissed for unclear reasons. But yeah, that's where we are, definitely doing a lot of cases with animal control. They passed some new policies. So we have a body cam policy that was reviewed by a subcommittee, had some minor comments, and then a protection devices policy, which was also reviewed February by the subcommittee, and we did correct the minor comments on verbiage. So that's where we are with those.
Hey, Paige,
Yes.
On those two policies.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The full board needs to, if they have any comments as well.
Yes, go ahead.
I attached the drafts of those policies to the email. And so if anyone has any comments that they want to add, but as Paige said, they did go through the subcommittee on the 10th. So after this board meeting, they will be signed and put into place. And so it was just the body cam policy, which is just, I'm setting the guidelines for the ASOs to wear a body cam, and the storage of that, video footage as well. So very straightforward. It mimics the PD policy. And then same with the protection devices policy. It's just a secondary protection device and when it can be used and who can carry one. Again, it mimics a lot of the PD policy as well. So if there are any comments, now would be the time.
John, were you part of the review of those?
Well, I do have a comment on the body camera.
Okay.
In procedure Roman 4A, it seems to me that is something that must be in a city general policy, and I would think would not be necessary in this policy and procedure because it would be generally applicable. But I'd like to know if that's the case. 4A.
Of which policy?
The body camera policy. It would seem to be unnecessary as hopefully covered as a general city policy and not necessarily one aimed at this particular activity.
Yes, so I was part of writing this, and that's really just a safeguard to ensure that nobody is recording in inappropriate places. I mean, we give, the body cameras got, obviously you can record at any moment, and if they're on, they have a 30-second recording feature where it's not recording audio, but it is capturing video.
Now, I'm not saying this is a bad policy. I'm saying that I would think it would be a general city policy for all of its activities and not necessary to restate in this particular narrow circumstance. I guess I don't have a problem with it being there, except it seems, like I say, it should be unnecessary to say such a thing.
I agree with John. If body cameras are needed, I think it should be a citywide thing, and I think, what happens if somebody doesn't use one? That should be a citywide thing as well. I think a city policy would be better than just a ACO.
So right now, the only people that have body cameras in the city is going to be police officers. So I don't think it was anything that was put in the city's policy, just because the police department was the only entity within the city that had body cameras at the time. And now we're implementing body cameras in animal control, so the city hasn't had anything in there. And this is something that's in the police department's policy as well, so it's one of those things that was copied over as well.
Okay, well, I don't have a problem with it being followed.
Thank you. All right, so I wanted to go ahead and highlight, we had some cool animal control cases that happened recently. So one of these is these two very handsome Goldens, which is, you guys know me and Ellen, we love Goldens. So this was really special, but there was a storm going on, and we had our two animal control officers, Myrna and Terry, go for a swim in this lake, and they saved these two little Goldens. And I'm sure the Goldens didn't want to be saved, but I'm sure the owners did. So just know, if you do have your dogs go for a swim, we have some animal control officers that are willing to go dive after them. And we did get a good little shout out from KPRC too. So yeah, those were the two. And then we had some wildlife calls. So we had this cormorant, I believe that's how you say it, which is just like a black waterfowl. Thank you. Black waterfowl that was found, and it had a fishing line tied around its wings. So we had one of the amazing rehabbers come, and he picked up the bird and removed the fishing line. And he said it should heal in a couple weeks, give some antibiotics, give it some time. So good prognosis for him. This little orphan possum here, Myrna found, and we took that to wildlife. Definitely possum season coming up here. So we expect to see more of those. And then an injured rabbit as well was found by a Good Samaritan. So he was like panting and just looked a little weird. So we took that one to a rehabber as well. Yeah, cool.
Sorry, I have to say thank you. Good job getting all the animals to the rehabilitators. We appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate you guys more. Microchipping program. We did 71 in December, January and February. We had 73 microchips done. I believe our grant is still open, right? For microchips? We still have money left on it?
I believe so. Yanni, do you know?
I
think it's still open.
Yes, it's while supplies last. So microchips while supplies last. Once we are out of that grant, we will have a cost associated. And I believe for residents it's 15 and non-residents it's 20. So it's very affordable. So send people our way. We will have them no matter what. So next thing is we have some dashboards that I have been working on with the engineering department. Alan has really helped me with these. He's amazing, and this is really going to help with our transparency. I'm a big data person. I think it's really important for one, transparency, but two, we need to know if all these programs that we're starting are working, right? Like me and Mike and Sandra and everyone at the shelter has so many ideas, and we're constantly just like throwing them out there. But how do we know if they're working or not? Because, one person may think it's working, one person may like doing it, one person may not like doing it. But if the data shows that our save rate is higher, our outcomes are higher, our adoptions are higher, then we're doing something right, and we're going to keep going forward with that program. So we don't have a shelter manager now, but we will in the future at some point. And this will be good that we're getting all these dashboards and things set up and reports set up so that way they can analyze the programs that we have been working on. And I promise we have a lot of programs that we're theorizing in our head and writing on paper, and we will share those soon. But yeah, this one, all of the dashboards are interactive. They will be public facing. These are screenshots, so unfortunately I can't show you them at the moment. But soon we will have them published. They'll be on the city websites for everyone to access and get clarity on our information. So on the left side, we have our main numbers, so like intakes, outcomes, adoptions, save rates, and length of stay, which are important metrics for any shelter to capture. And this is for the past 12 months as well. We have total animal outcomes and save rate there in the top left. Intakes and outcomes by type. Our bite cases are on the bottom right as well. So summer we see a peak, which is common to see a peak in bite cases in the summer for whatever reason. And then at the very top, we have intakes and outcome trends by yard month, which I think is kind of repetitive. So we may change that to like a heat map or fosters or transfers or, more animal control stuff. So we're still trying to decide, but for now we have that there. But if you have recommendations, let me know at the end. We have this disease monitoring dashboard. So this one is going to be more like a post-disease thing. So like we can look at this after the fact. So on the left is 2023, on the right is 2024. And our most common diseases in the shelter, contagious diseases, are kennel cough, parvo/panleukopenia, ringworm, and URI. So kennel cough is more on the dog side, and URI is what we use on the cat side. Technically, kennel cough is an upper respiratory infection, but anyway, we just use that terminology in the shelter to keep it easy. So if you look on the left, URI is the purple bar. We have a lot of URI going on last year. If you compare to 2023, not last year. 2024, it has significantly shrunk, and that was one of my goals. And doing some research and everything and talking to some different vets, as well as like going to conferences and hearing some things and different consultants, we weren't having the best housing requirements for cats. So a lot of the best practices for cat housing now is to have it double-sided, which we were kind of doing on some we weren't, but we've definitely made that a priority to have a double-walled enclosure. We're not doubling up cats anymore. We've also made a priority to make sure cats have hides, especially feral cats. Giving them an opportunity to hide and perch is a very natural instinct for cats, and it's really important that they can display natural behaviors to reduce stress, because cats they all carry these viruses that will display URI symptoms. They're just not going to express the disease when they're not stressed, just like humans. Like, we're stressed, our immune system compromised, we're having a herpes flare-up, we're having whatever infectious flare-up. So same for cats. So we made a priority to minimize that, as well as when it comes to minimizing stress, we switched our cleaning protocols just a little bit. We have a little bit more of a sterile way of cleaning cages now. We're not cross-contaminating even things like a watering can that can be a fomite. Like, we're making sure that we're not cross-contaminating with things like that. And we are doing a little bit more of a spot cleaning method versus like a full disinfection every day. Because imagine someone comes in your house every day with bleach and scrubs it from wall to floor, and it's like, you're clean now. Like, no, you're going to be stressed out. You're going to get sick, even though it's technically cleaned. So we changed those up a little bit. As you can see, our URI has significantly shrunk. So that is, what a lot of the studies show, and I can say it repeated in our shelter. So that is great. Yes.
I just had one question and some 2 cents. Is the URI, the purple, is that specifically about feline URI?
Yes, just feline URI. Doesn't include for dogs.
This is my 2 cents. Mm-hmm. I would change, because kennel cough, technically, we use that specifically towards Bordetella, but like, as you and I both know, there's multiple agents that are involved in CIRDC.
Yes.
I would personally change that to just canine URI and then feline URI, to clarify, but
that's a good idea.
Otherwise, because then it, if a layperson's just looking at these charts, then they would get a little confused and be like, oh, why didn't they combine the two? So
no, I agree. I think I'll go in and change that. A lot of these data points and stuff preceded me, so I'm just trying to pull the data how it was given, and I know that that's how we've kind of been using it, but yes, I will get that updated.
Because this is from Chameleon, isn't it?
Yes, yes. This is pulling.
Because it's from the diagnosis window and
yes,
the commit.
Yes, you know. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is pulling. So yeah, a lot of these dashboards are pulling directly from our software that we use, Chameleon, which everyone uses across the board. So
I mean, this is fantastic. This is the first shelter I've seen do. I wish Chameleon could do this. I think Chameleon can do a lot of things, but I wish it could do something that could help medically monitor, but the fact that you've independently gone and done this is remarkable. So seriously, good job.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
It means a lot. So yeah, so we're looking at that. There's also ringworm. We've got a spike. I have to say, if you guys can anecdotally say last summer or 2 summers ago versus this last summer, it was much more humid. This past summer, we had kind of a drought. So ringworm is a fungus, humidity, fungus, grow. We also have a different vet tech, so that's something you have to think about whenever you're looking at data is, could there be an inconsistency potentially? We have a different person entering these numbers. I don't think it's going to make the biggest difference, but yeah, she may be noticing it more. She may be, a little bit more diligent with her wood lamping and intake exams. Because again, I need to find a way to track this quantitatively, but anecdotally, I can say most of our ringworm cats this year were coming in with ringworm. We didn't have too much cross-contamination internally. We did have that problem a few years ago when Dr. Benner was here. She's nodding because she remembers. And as you can see, 2023, June, we had a huge spike, and that was us going through every week and finding out we had internal cross-contamination by examining every cat one by one. So we've had still a lot of ringworm, but I think a lot of them were coming in with it. And I will try to figure out a way where I can monitor that, but it's going to be more complicated because you have to think of incubation periods. So, yeah.
One more 2-cent topic. When you guys do get to building the newer, larger shelter, because you guys don't use visual kennel right now, do you?
No, we don't.
In Chameleon? Mm-hmm. So when you build the new shelter, ask about getting that started for the new shelter. And because you've learned to extrapolate data from Chameleon to track the number of diseases, if you combine that data with visual kennel, you might be able to see how disease moves through the shelter physically.
Yes, that would be a great idea. Thank you. Love that. Yes, we have, so we're down a little bit on our URI. Our kennel cough has gone down. As you guys know, we don't house as many animals as we used to. So we don't have dogs in the hallways, so they're not coughing on dogs that are walking by. New intake dogs go to a quarantine area. So kennel cough, we haven't really had any outbreaks. So that's kind of, furthering the reasons why we're doing things the way they are. I know we're not going to win in every situation. There's going to be a downside, but on one end, we are doing our best to reduce disease risk in our shelters. So that's just some of the data behind our reasoning. So, yeah. This one looks a little different because it's actually not pulling from Power BI, it's pulling from Chameleon.